Don't you wanna be free when you're standing on the edge of time? One word's all I need to relieve you of your rising greed. Don't you wanna be free when your life's turning upside down? Let me show you the way to go when all direction is lost. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Don't you wanna be free to forget where your life should be? For once, stand up for what's right and be true to the ones you need. Don't you wanna be free and to never be afraid again? This time I will not let you go. I'll be your shelter from harm. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay, because I forgot my mic, so I am using my laptop mic. So I just got to be cognizant that I don't touch my laptop too often, but hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, so my poor chickens, I figured I would give them some screen time today. That's why I started with their picture. I was missing one of them there, but they do not like the snow at all. They don't like the cold, they don't like the snow, and little do they know they're about to get 2 feet of snow, which means they will not come out of their run at all. And some of them won't even come out of the coop. But anyways, I wanted to share them with you folks. And of this last series that I've been working on around decluttering, and what it means, physically, what it means emotionally, and just some of the the emotional stuff that goes along with decluttering, not necessarily the how-to of decluttering. And I see that Fun in Nature, I can't see it now in the right here. Hold on. So they have an article out on their website on tips to downsizing. So I suggest for folks to go take a look at that, because I don't necessarily give the how-tos. So I'm actually going to go look at it myself afterwards. But one of the things I've always been coached on, I guess, with the videos that I produce, they they're always telling me, Lori, with the talking head videos, you should not have them be too long, have them be right around the 15-minute mark. Sometimes, it's a little less, it's a little more. But because of that, because I try to stay aware of that somewhat of a time limit, I feel like I don't get to talk about everything, especially around this decluttering thing. I have touched upon it a little bit in the first 2 episodes, what it does to you physically, but I just wanted to expand upon that a little bit. And I thought that would be a great topic for the live this morning. That way, if you have questions, we can talk about it. And this is obviously from my perspective, this is what I have lived and gone through. But when I decided I was going to do this series, I also did quite a bit of research so that it wasn't just, Lori, I guess Lori's point of view. So when this live is over and it gets published, I'm actually going to put all the articles if anybody's interested in any of this information, just so you know where I got it as well. And when we start talking about some of it, I actually am going to have to refer to some of the notes because so I don't miss anything. But one of the things I talk about when like the decluttering process is, I always talk about how the clarity you're going to get and the lightness you're going to feel afterwards. And you do. But sometimes before you get to that point, there's a lot of other things you may feel. You may feel grief. When I talk about that in episode 4, you may just feel tiredness, right? You may feel overwhelmed. And let me say that if you feel any of those things, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong or you should stop, but it does mean maybe you should slow down. And I think I said it in one of the episodes that, this wasn't like a 2-week process for me. This was a 2-year process for me. So just know there's no right way to do it. You just got to do what makes you feel right. I always say go inward, right? That's where a lot of the answers are. Go inward, see what feels right. I'm all about the feelings and let that guide you a little bit. So, because I think when you start doing it, or if folks have already done it, you'll realize when you start, picking up things and moving things, you're not just moving an object, from here to there or putting it in a box to donate. Every time you pick something up, there's a memory attached to that. There's a version of yourself attached to that. There's a decision attached to that. And when you think about all that, and maybe you don't consciously think of all that, but your nervous system is like, whoa, this is a lot. This is too much. And this is why sometimes you need to do it in small doses. And I think one of the other things I talked about, you might feel grief, you might feel tiredness, but another one is guilt, right? Especially if, whether somebody gave you something and then you want to pass it on or donate it, you feel guilty about that. And I had a lot of guilt in that because, and I think I've shared this, it's very hard for me to receive. So when I do receive something, I don't just look at that object. I'm like, oh my goodness, somebody spent the time to think of me, to get this for me. And now I'm going to pass it on. I almost feel like that's disrespectful. So I really had to work on that piece of it with me. But, or if you buy things and, clothes or something or a piece of tech and you never use it, you never, and I'm really talking about myself here, you never take the time to learn how to use something, or you never take those tags, off that sweater you bought, then you feel guilty. You're like, I spent this money, and when you spend money, right, you just think about the time that it took you to, I guess, earn that money. And then you went and spent it and you didn't use it. So there's sometimes guilt attached to that as well. And, yeah, and as you start going through decluttering, you're thinking of past versions of yourself. You're thinking of old stories of yourself. So, and because the nervous system gets so overwhelmed, that's why sometimes you need to step away. And it's okay to step away. I guess that's my whole point. Let me just see, did I touch all of that? But what I will guarantee is when it is over and you get to the other side of that transformation, you will feel better. You will feel lighter. Um, not just for the space, but it literally, this clutter it's tied to your nervous system as far as it causes brain fog, it causes tiredness. So let's talk about some of those physical things. But before I get into that section of it, let me just go to the chat and make sure that I am not missing anybody. Let me see. So, hi, Rhonda. Good morning. Hi, Daniel. Great to have you here. I'll pop any comments. So I watch some videos that are over an hour long, especially talking head videos. I can listen while I do other things. I don't think there's a time limit. I agree with you, Scott. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are like 2 hours old. But I think I've shared that I've had a few coaches in my life since I've been doing YouTube, and they like to say otherwise. But having said that, I am learning to trust myself a little bit. Take their guidance, take what they're suggesting, and if it makes sense, and if it doesn't, trust myself a little bit more. So I hear you. What really helped us was to take photos of the items. We've downsized several times. Hundreds. Wow. Yeah, that is quite the downsizing. And yes, you know what? You're right. I have done that, and I've heard of that, and I've actually suggested it to my kids that when there is a sentimental item and there's a memory attached to that, I mean, isn't it fantastic now that we have these, I don't know where my phone is, but we have these computers, these handheld computers that we can pull up photos at any time if we need to recall that memory or something, right? So that's definitely a good suggestion. I won't get off on that topic because all right, another topic about photos, but that will be for a different day. Hi, Tyler. It's great to have you here. Hi, Pam. Welcome. Just making sure I stay caught up with the chat today. Thank you. Thank you for just giving me that permission. It's nice to hear that. But yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning to trust myself a bit more when it comes to stuff like that. You just think you pay a lot of money for a coach, and I truly believe they don't mean to steer you wrong, but it doesn't work for everybody, right? The general guidance cannot be followed across the board for everybody. So, because I definitely think my videos are more podcast style, just because they are talking heads, you literally most of the time don't have to look at me listening to me. You can just put your AirPods on and go about what you're doing. I guess try it both ways, a long video and a shorter one, and see which one has the most impact on people. Yeah, that's a good point, Scott. Maybe I expand on some of the ones that I've done. Photos get scanned and I have flash drives. So do you ever go back and look at them? Do you ever go back? That's my big thing right now is I have so many photos and I do scan them, but I feel like I don't appreciate them as much as I should. I am actually thinking of getting a digital photo frame, especially with my second grandchild now just being born a couple weeks ago. I used to be a person that had every photo I ever took printed, not duplicates, but and I had beautiful, albums with all my pictures. I would get them blown up, put them all over my wall, and I still do that. But I obviously don't print pictures anymore. So, and I was just thinking about it the other day or a few days ago. Like, I feel like I don't appreciate them as much. And so, just curious what everybody else does. So, everyone's different, yes. I'm compiling the scenic relaxation films from photos, so I've been going back a lot. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do at times go back, especially when I'm looking for a photo. But I have a lot of photos on my phone. I'm probably embarrassed to say how many I have. So I need to copy you and take some advice there and pull some of them off and put them on a flash drive, especially if anything was ever to happen to my phone, whether I was to lose it or whatnot. I'd be devastated if I lost my photos. I really would be. I mean, yeah, they get backed up, so I'm sure they're somewhere. But so I might do that. You may have inspired me. Good morning, Mike. Let me see. You got to figure out what works for you. You have your unique style and presentation and perspective of things. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, so maybe my videos will get a bit longer. We'll see. We'll see. You love videos over photos. Isn't that amazing, though, that we get to do that? I have so many family films of my kids, and I'll be honest, my son still likes to watch himself when he was a little boy. So I'm like, just wait, your kids are going to love this too. But I love it. And actually, it was before the holidays. We were going through some of them because my husband and I's anniversary is right before Christmas. So we were going through our video and we came across a couple others. And one was of my son, only 5 years old, fishing. So it made me think of Allie and Daniel. I'm like, look at that. See, my son even back then has a love of fishing. That has been put on the back burner a little bit with children. But I'm sure once the kids are old enough, he'll be sharing that love with them as well. But I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, I think I am all caught up. So if anybody wasn't on my Sunday Live, I was so far behind. And when people take the time to comment, I want to, especially if it's a question, I want to make sure I honor that. So I'll stop periodically. So to talk about like some of the physical things that happen with clutter, right? And you may not consciously understand this, but when you walk into a room, your brain is constantly scanning everything. It is. And even if it's out of sight, if you know behind a closet door, it's packed, your brain is aware of that as well. So it's a constant every time you walk into a room. If there's unmade decisions, which is to me what clutter is, it's tiring to the brain. And let me just take one step back because I want to make sure I'm clear about this. When I talk about decluttering and letting things go, I am not talking about anything that actually you feel good about. This isn't about being minimal. It's nothing like that. And I think it's in episode 3, I talk a lot about the collection of books I had. And I mean, if you have, a whole library of books and they bring you joy and you're happy, and whether you reference them or not, you just feel good when you walk by them, my goodness, keep them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about stuff that should go. Maybe you've had it for a very long time. You don't wear these clothes anymore. You have 3 sets of pots and pans that you got the new set, but you just can't bear the thought of getting rid of the other 2 sets. It's those type of things I'm talking about. Nothing that actually brings value to your life. So I just want to be clear. I'm not talking about getting rid of things for the sake of getting rid of things. I'm talking about the stuff that is weighing on you, and you'll know if it's weighing on you. Go pick something up and you will literally feel a shift in your body. You will know whether you should be holding on to something or not. And I think I said this, that everything in our house, obviously it's just energy. We've talked about that. Everything's energy. And it's either, it either raises your frequency, so it's good energy, or it lowers your frequency. So I just wanted to be clear about that. I don't want to make it sound like, when I talk about my books in episode 3, I'm not saying anybody who has a collection of books should let them go. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, oh, and I thought of this because, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, Scott was helping me with setting up Ecamm. And I was going to correlate this tiredness to like your computer, right? And you have all these tabs open. Well, that day he was helping me, without a joke, I probably had at least 24 tabs open on my computer. And he's like, Lori, you got to shut that down, shut that down. You know, obviously the computer still works. Obviously you can still function in your house, but it definitely takes the energy, right? It takes the energy from your computer. It takes the energy from your life. So it causes, the brain fog, trouble focusing. We talked about decision fatigue. So and let me just talk about grief a little bit too. And I'm going to get into a bit more details, but when I get into a bit more detail, I need to actually read it. Sometimes some of the items that we know we should part with, there's a bit of sadness there. And and it's different for everybody. So I'm only going to talk about from my experience. And I talk about this in episode 4. There was something that I needed to get rid of, but it held a part of me that I wasn't sure I was ready, that I had fully healed from yet, put it that way. But when I actually sat with it, I realized it was actually hurting me more by keeping it because of every time I walked by it, the memory and the emotions. And so when it came time to let go of that, I just had to sit with it for a little bit. And even though I still get emotional about thinking about that season, it was the right thing to do to let go of it. Because I'm truly okay. It just still brings up emotions, so I apologize for that. But my point being is it's okay. It's okay to feel the grief. It's okay to let the tears come. It's all okay. And we don't need to relive a particular season over and over. So by holding on to something, sometimes it makes your body, and I talk about that every time I walked by something, I would feel it, literally feel it in my body. So, and even though I just got emotional, I was truly okay with making that decision. So, just trying to explain it's okay to have those emotions and let them come up. It certainly doesn't mean you're weak or anything like that. And if you need to get rid of something that does hold some type of grief like that, and you need to sit with that for, there is no right time frame. Maybe it takes a month to let it go. That's okay too. Figure out what healing you still need to do around that. So, so let me just go a little bit deeper into that, and then I will end on how good it's going to feel when you get through the other side, through the transformation. Let me just pull up. Bear with me, folks. Maybe I don't have them open. Hold on. Literally just thought I had it open. Okay. And I'm not going to go through everything, but so one other thing about clutters, right? It leaves like this open loop in your brain. And I just talked about that. Every time you walk by something, it's scanning your environment. And whether it's, the piles that are sitting on a countertop or just every item in your house that you have not made a decision on yet, just it's unfinished business. It's that, a decision needs to be made. So there's that decision fatigue that we talked about. Like I should deal with that. Brain just keeps talking about that. And it happens every single time you pass something. So, and that's also where the cortisol comes in. So, sorry guys. I'm wondering if so it creates the open loops that we just talked about. And then the visual, clutter, it competes for your attention. And again, it doesn't even have to be, out in front of you. It could be behind a cabinet. And just another quick story with my in-laws. When my mother-in-law passed, she passed 4 years after my father-in-law, and you would walk into their home and it was beautiful. It was perfectly kept. That Italian family where certain rooms you couldn't walk into. But when she passed and we had to start going through the estate, I think it was a shock to my husband and his siblings, because I think they realized how much their parents lived in fear, meaning, they both grew up with scarcity. But even when they both worked their whole lives, very good jobs, and but they never lived like that, but they kept everything. I mean, everything. Empty containers, everything. So anytime when we went in and we would open up a cabinet or open up a closet, it was full. So, and I remember at one point, my mother-in-law, in hindsight, I remember her telling me how exhausted she always felt walking into her house. And now I understand, because she knew behind every cabinet, every closet, under the bed, everywhere, it was just stuffed, and it was just these unmade decisions. Her attic, her attic was beyond, you couldn't move in her attic. And so this is, 70 years of stuff. So, and I think that's one of the reasons people, hold on to things, is because they're so fearful that they may not get it back, but they took it to another extreme. So, but then, so we talked about that. And this is where the cortisol comes in. Research has shown that the people whose homes are more cluttered, usually because their cortisol is so high, they have trouble making the right decisions, whether it's around their health, whether it's around productivity, whatever it is. Because again, they're weighed down, right? They're tired. They have that, that fatigue. And the stress hits people differently, but it does show up. It absolutely does show up, whether it's increased distraction, your brain fog, the difficulty concentrating. And again, I think with all the clutter, it's just this low level of your nervous system is on alert the whole time. And I would love to hear from some of you folks, like having fun in nature. You've done some downsizing. How did it feel when you got to the other side of that? Was there any guilt? Was there any shame? I talked about that when you let something go that somebody gave you, or even avoidance. Did you put some things aside for a couple of months or a month because you needed to make a decision around it? Let me just hop back into the chat for a minute. Okay, I don't know where I left off, so I apologize if too many tabs open is a great analogy. Yes, Scott, when I was putting some of my thoughts together for the video, I absolutely thought of that. So you inspired me. Close mental tabs. Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you, folks, for all the love you're sending. This is true. This is true. And, sometimes even being vulnerable in front of your friends like that is healing. So I got voicemails of my mom and dad saved for just in case. Well, Tyler, I would hold on to those too, and my I think my voicemail is close to being full because I have voicemails from my children when they were real little. I don't remember when phones came about, so it's not, so it's mostly my youngest daughter. But I can, go back and hear her voice from when she was 4 years old asking me when I was going to come home because she missed me. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to get rid of that, but that brings me so much joy, just to hear that, love. And because we all know if we blink, I think Sally said it this morning, if we blink, they grow up. And it goes by pretty quickly. Hey, Allie. Oh, thank you, CL, for joining. I'm a caregiver for my mom and dad, and I'm trying to clean up the mess before it gets to that point. Yeah, my husband did too, because not only did my in-laws not downsize when, my husband was trying to suggest they do, they just kept buying more and more and more stuff. And my husband knew it was going to be a lot when it came that time, but he didn't realize how bad it was going to be. They did a very good job at hiding a lot of it. And again, you would walk into their house and you would never know. You would never know. So keep at it, Allie. Because I'll be honest, it's harder to deal with after the fact for so many reasons, a lot of emotional reasons. Felt like we could spend more time in nature having fun. It's freeing to let things go. It's very freeing. And I like that, and you have fun in your name too. One of the other things that is I recently realized is when you do let go, yes, you can have more fun. And do you know that when you have fun, and I know everybody can relate to this, you're in flow. That's when things happen. That's when the universe is just delivering to you over and over. I mean, think about it. How many times, even on a live, right? I heard Catherine say yesterday, oh, wow, it's already been an hour, because she really was in the moment and enjoyed it so much. When you're having fun, you're in the moment, and time is non-existent. It's just non-existent. So kind of get off tangent, but I like how you brought that up, that you were able to have more fun. They always kept a clean house, but their health problems stopped them from staying on top of everything. Yep, we've been there. We have been there. So that's good, Allie. And I don't know if you have any siblings, but try not to do it all yourself. Look for support. So I just remember what it did to my husband, and it was a lot. And it took us, and I'm not exaggerating, it took us a solid 2 years to clean their estates out. It was just that much stuff between estate sales and, obviously the emotion of, oh my goodness, I'm getting rid of this. This was my dad's pride and joy. Like this, he had this old Mercedes. But what do you do with it, right? But it was a very, very, very emotional decision for my husband to do that. And so I just think it's harder. Felt free. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You do feel free. Let me see. So we have the memories and the pictures, kept one small sentimental box with a little something from everyone. That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. It's good that you were able to do that. I love that you were able to do that. I look forward to reading your article out on your website there. And from some of the comments I'm getting, it's, maybe that's something you can even talk about, because you guys are on the other side of it, especially downsizing, because you want to be, out in nature more and more of that lifestyle. Just talk about how freeing that is. We have moved a few times. I tend to get rid of things too soon because I'm trying to pack as little as possible. Children's books at our garage sale. I have been there, Pam. When, yeah, I only moved, well, I moved a couple of times, but when we bought the house we're in now in Andover, um, I carried all this stuff. I brought all this stuff, like boxes and boxes and bags of stuff. And when I started the whole decluttering process in 2009, we moved in 2002, 2003, early 2003. And it took me 2000 and so about 6, 7 years to actually get rid of things that I should have gotten rid of before the move. So it's smart if you can get rid of it before the move. We have quite a bit of clutter in here now. It's stressing me out, one project area at a time. See, it does stress you out when you have that clutter. And actually, Catherine from Of Home and Heart did a video. I don't know if it was her last one, but one of her recent ones where she talked about all the work they did on their property, their home, for the last 17 years. And she talked about at the end how she felt from just cleaning everything up and whatnot. And I did ask her permission, but I used her as an example of how freeing it can be when you get to the other side of it all. It really is freeing. I'm telling you, the clarity. And hey, Sally, welcome. I gave away my kids' Webkin stuffed animals, but now I wish I had a few. Were they used or unused? Those things go for crazy money, Pam, right now. My middle daughter, was a fanatic about Webkins, and she had a lot. Obviously, a lot of them were used. She used the code or whatever, but then she probably had maybe 10, 12, something like that, where the codes were never used, and was able to sell them and make ridiculous money for what it was. One of them she was able to sell for, I want to say, almost $400. I believe it was the Bernese Mountain Dog, the signature one. So, and yes, I'm also saying if you have anything in your home that is valuable, I'm not saying just get rid of it, but I am saying make a decision around it. And if you're going to list it somewhere, whether it be on eBay, Poshmark, there's so many sites out there now, wherever it may be, just do it sooner than later. Don't hold on to it for another 6 months. But certainly, there's value in some of that stuff. The clothes, no. There's really not a whole lot of value in clothes, so I would not spend my time doing that. Oh my goodness, Sally, don't apologize for being late. I'm in a bad area. Not sure how long I'll be able to last. Well, thank you, Dan, for trying. So, and I'm looking forward to that next video of yours. My grandparents were bad. My mom learned and is starting to go through the stuff. Yeah, maybe it was that generation, maybe it was that generation that just, I think that generation grew up in a lot of scarcity, because it was through World War II, and there was always just that fear, that just in case fear. Yes, in flow, perfect. Yeah, you do. It is in flow, and I'm telling you, when you're in flow, it's magical. It's magical. My dad is very sick, and my mom has a lot of mobility issues. I'm barely hanging on some days. My siblings are not around. It's just me. Well, I'm glad you're part of this community, Allie, because you definitely need support. It's a lot. It's a lot to take care of aging parents. And, my parents, I was estranged from my parents when they passed. And I just did not have that type of relationship. But my husband, as well as I did, had a great relationship, obviously, with his parents and my in-laws. And yes, the last 4 or 5 years, it was around the clock, taking care. My husband was, I guess I'd give him that title of caretaker, especially for my mother-in-law, as my father-in-law had passed first. And again, they were the very strict Italians, right? She did all the cooking, the cleaning, the managing of the household. And he did, everything else, like fixing everything, just all the finances, everything. So they both brought to their marriage just different parts. They completed each other. So it was very difficult for my mother-in-law without him. So obviously my husband stepped in the best he could, and then she had health issues within months. She had health issues. So I understand, Allie, what you're probably going through. So always, always, always reach out for support. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. So I absolutely loved your live yesterday. As usual, my hubs really enjoyed as well. I recharge with fishing and spending time with my son. I put joy in so I can keep on going. And yet, you say you recharge with fishing. It's because you're outside. I am a firm believer. You go outside and you plug yourself in. I know Scott talks about this as well. And from my point of view, nature, you're just closer to your source, to the divine, whatever you want to call it, when you're in nature. So yes, go outside. And one of the things I've mentioned that when you need to get grounded, go outside and literally touch the ground. If you can walk, barefoot on the ground, obviously not right now in New England, but touch the ground, touch a tree, actually touch something. And it does, it re-energizes you. So I'm glad you recognize that, Allie. That's great, Sally. Enjoyed both of you this morning. The karaoke shout out was hilarious. Gotta love Sally's singing. Let me see. The tips help someone. I might skip back on the website. They will. Some of those tips are timeless, so I'm sure they will. Picking an article and discussing. Hold on. During our Sunday lives, we'll see. Thanks for the idea. I think you should, especially anytime you've gotten to the other side of a transformation like that. People are interested. So I'm a big kid. My poor hubs never knows what or when I will do anything. Yes, I don't know if you read through all the comments, Sally. Somebody, asked Daryl, what did you put in her coffee this morning? He was like, I don't ever have to put anything in her coffee. So it was cute. Outdoor fresh air cures a lot. It does. It absolutely does. I was in one of my rage cleaning moods and I doted in all my hoodies, my favorite hoodies. Yes, I know, but you're also missing some of them right now. So you did the experiment well. You got rid of it. But now it's okay. If you need one hoodie, you don't need 17 hoodies. You can bring one back into the fold. So I heard you say the other day you missed your hoodies. I had a whole box of them. I gave them to my nieces and nephews, and they're all now very well loved. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. So my daughter had a ton of them. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And then they would get these virtual codes. Do you remember like the virtual codes where you could get virtual pets? So crazy. A lot of money there. See, Allie said, now you can go buy a new one. Big surgery on Monday for my dad. Prayers needed. Absolutely. Allie, we will keep you in our prayers for sure. For sure. Let us know. Check in and let us know how he does after the surgery Monday. Sally, I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. If it's something that you can talk from or, you've experienced, 100%. Touch grass. Yep. Vitamin N. Yes, you've said that. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. All right, everybody. So after this, we all got to check out their website. Sounds like they have quite a few articles out there that may all do us good. Hi, Grizzly. Welcome. Okay, so I think you tell us down here. Walking barefoot does wonders. Something to do with naturally charging your body's frequency and making you feel good. You're right, Dan. It does. I've talked about that before, and I've even looked at, and I don't know if anyone has any experience with this. I'm sure it's not as good as actually getting outside in nature, but I've actually looked into is it a grounding mat or something that you stand on? I understand it's artificial, but I didn't know if it has any type of same type of ability as if you were outside. If anybody's had any experience with it, I'd be curious because that's how much I believe in it. I wish I could be outside more. I'm outside a lot, but I mean out barefoot and whatnot. So, you ever see kids? They just run around barefoot, man, and they're so happy. There's something to that. Our website is our name. Link in the description on our channel. Perfect. In the spring, I love digging in the dirt to plant flowers and such. And doesn't that bring you so much energy? Doesn't that bring you so, oh my goodness, I love planting my garden. Love it. Even when I go outside and weed, I don't mind. It's very healing. It's like therapy. I guess it's like therapy in so many ways, whether I listen to a podcast or I just, get quiet. Looking forward to a barefoot video in the It's hard, Scott, in the snow. It is hard in the snow. Yes, the Canadian snow just got more. How much, Grizzly? We're supposed to be getting almost 2 feet over the weekend. I'm sort of afraid to tell my daughter. She's flying in from Phoenix, and she's flying in today, and she's supposed to be flying out on Monday morning. She was just here for a long weekend. I'm sort of afraid to tell her because she may not get out Monday. But my husband's also supposed to travel on Monday, so we'll see about that. He doesn't care if he gets delayed. So, don't know if I'm ready to walk barefoot yet, especially in the snow. You won't see grass till May. Yeah, it's you're probably a little bit behind us, Mike, but I would say probably April for us. But not like real good grass. You're right. May is when we start cutting the grass and that beautiful greenness. Nova Scotia, not Alaska. Got it. I'll do a barefoot camp build a bit. We tried a mat for a while, didn't run many tests, need to bring it back out. Okay, so you did get one. All right, so I wouldn't be crazy maybe to trying one out. I've done a lot of research on different ones on Amazon, so if I get one, I'll make a post about it and let folks know if I found any benefit from it. 73 here. I'm looking at grass right now out the window. Are you trying to make us feel better, Scott? So, no, enjoy it. I'm actually going to Florida first week of February 5th. I think that's the first week for a few days to go visit a friend. So I keep telling her, you better have warm weather there for me because I think last time when I went in January, and there was a couple days that were 50 degrees, which is obviously nicer than here in New England, but 50 degrees in Florida, I wanted a bit warmer. So she said she'll do her best. I think she's in the northern part of the state. She's in Palm Coast, so I'm not really sure where in the state that is, but I think it's the northern part. You're doing a garden this spring. Oh, that's great, Allie. Do you know what you're going to plant yet? And so you're down in Florida. I know Granny does. I don't know if you sit on Granny's live. She does a lot of gardening, so I bet she has a lot of tips. I'm sort of jealous that you folks can garden all year long, maybe different crops at different times, but you can garden all year long. We don't have that ability. I did buy I forget it. It's called a garden. It's an indoor garden. It was really popular a couple of years ago, and I tried that last year, and some things grew. You got cherry tomatoes, you got these miniature cucumbers, a lot of herbs, got some lettuce, but it was also a lot of work. It was very expensive for what you got it for. So to me, I won't do it again. So that's something else I need to get rid of, but I tried it at least. It heals physically and mentally. I'm not sure which that was in reference to, if it was outside and getting grounded or digging in a garden. But if it was anything outside, you're right. You're spot on. Barefoot camping video. Maybe you can wait till the spring, Grizzly. Not sure I'm up to freezing my feet in this weather. Maybe when it's warmer. Yes. It's always green in Florida. Yeah, even when it's cold, right? I guess it's always green in Florida, which is nice. I long for spring. Hub loves it here. He loves being in Pennsylvania with the snow and the cold. Yeah, my daughter is down at Penn State, and even though she's south of us, she tells me all the time she feels like it's so much colder there. So I don't know if they're in a valley or what, but she's always telling me how cold it is there compared to home. I think you should get them out. I'm going to try. I am going to try it. I think I probably just answered that, but Palm Coast. Peppers and pumpkin squash for sure. Go check out, Allie. I did a video. It was a pumpkin video. It's not exactly the same, but go watch my pumpkin video. I want to say I did it last, maybe August. I don't know. I thought it was pretty special, just talking about the essence that is in all of us. And yes, I correlated it with pumpkins. So if you get a chance. Some greens and tomatoes. Yeah. Oh my goodness, tomatoes. I enjoy how your New England accent comes out now and then. Really? I didn't think I had one. So you'll have to let me know when it comes out. Everybody's always told me I didn't have one. But maybe I've gotten worse in my old age. I've been using my Happy Light, which simulates sunshine, so your mood gets brighter in the winter. Yes, my daughter, my middle daughter that travels the country, would use one of those. And she is somebody, I think Sunday, I think maybe it was Catherine or something that said, maybe I'm an empath because of the way I feel things. I was telling my daughter about it, and, she's like, oh my goodness. She goes, no wonder where I get it from. So after this long discussion, she very much feels people's energy, so much so that that was one of the decisions she made to travel the country and to be where it's a lot warmer all the time, because she needed that sunshine to sort of recharge. And it also, when I think about, in hindsight, some of the people, when she was like a little girl and a kid and going through middle school, she would attract these people. They were her friends, but they really, really drained her. And so now I'm starting to understand some of that. So I don't know if it was Catherine who brought it up, but whoever brought it up, thank you, because now we're both sort of going down this path of investigating that a little bit. So that's kind of cool. Oh, I think I'm all caught up when you say idea. Okay, now I'm going to be, okay, I'll have to pay attention. This is Pam from Canada too. Awesome. Look at you all caught up. I know, I'm so excited. Okay, I don't want to keep you guys. So let me just, I'm not even sure I talked about all, but let me talk about on the other side of transformation really quick. And then I just want to close out with Thoughtuary. And I also want to share that Daniel inspired me actually Daniel and Allie inspired me for a giveaway. So on Sundays, probably just my Sunday lives, I am actually going to start giving away a Thoughtuary book. Oh, super cool. I just saw a snowmobile go across the lake. That still amazes me when I see that. So I'm going to start giving a Thoughtuary book away every week. So I got to figure out how to do that. And I just reached out to Ed this morning, my friend who wrote it, and he's actually going to sign them. So it'll be a signed copy of Thoughtuary. So if anybody is interested in the book, I'll be giving one away every week. Okay. One, two, 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 two. Okay, so when you get to the other side, I think the first thing that changes, at least for me, what worked for me, or what I noticed was, and I think I talked about this, I just felt literally in the morning, I would feel, or just feel more energized in my day. I would just feel lighter getting up. I loved, literally walking around my house. I don't know if anybody's ever done this, but after you finish cleaning a room and you know it's completely done, do you ever just go stand in the doorway of that room and feel the energy of that room? Maybe I'm the only weird one that does that, but it feels so good. You just feel lighter, you feel clear. Your nervous system is just, it has this deep sigh of relief. And, we talked about letting go some of the grief items. So then you don't have to feel that every time you walk by something. The mental noise drops. There's fewer, visual demands, I guess. Because again, I'm very visual. So when I walk into the room, my eyes go directly towards the clutter that's sitting on my countertop, and it's just like, oh, right, Lori, I got to do that. And I can guarantee, my to-do list always has some type of, you got to clean this cabinet, you got to clean this, because it's, even when you're done, like you go through and you do a one pass, sometimes I think it takes different levels or different sessions. I don't know the right word I'm looking for. But sometimes it takes more than one pass to get through all of the decluttering. Especially we have a storage room in my house, and, it's where I put, the extra food, or, like the canned goods and stuff, or just items we're storing, whether it's dishes we don't use all the time, the paper products, whatever. And it doesn't matter how many times I empty that storage room, it just more stuff, it like grows. There's something about it. It's kind of like Mary Poppins carpet bag, right? Just keeps pulling things out. Because I'll try and do a yard sale maybe once a year in the spring. Again, just to get rid of things that we've accumulated. And he's always like, where did this stuff come from? I don't know. There's something about our storage room just keeps reproducing it. But there's fewer visual demands. The mental noise, right? The mental chatter in your head, these to-do things, that silent to-do list, that, that stops. You feel less tired. And then obviously the cortisol in your body, drops. And at least for me, what I noticed is I sleep better. I as weird as that sounds, I sleep better once I've finished a project like that. I think I pretty much talked about everything. But it's physical. And I am going to put all the articles in the description, like I said. Go read a few of them. It is, I don't think people understand truly what clutter excess does to their bodies. So if nothing else, if I can at least bring an awareness to it, maybe for you to do a little bit more research, or next time maybe you see an article, you'd be like, oh, this is what Lori was talking about. Let me read this or whatever. It's kind of, I was trying to think of what that's called. Oh my goodness. When you talk about something and then all you do is see it from then on. There's a name for it and it's escaping me right now. But so we're almost at the end. And thank you for everybody who has stayed this long. I am going to close it on the reading for today, which is the 22nd. So again, it's from the book Thoughtuary. I think most people know, unless there's somebody new on the live. So allow yourself to be the person you are meant to be. Evolve. Personal evolution requires no willpower, motivation, inspiration, or force. It comes from letting go, falling into, trusting, and experiencing pain, sometimes lots of pain. It starts by going backwards, not always forwards. It comes from deep within. It's when that soft but powerful voice whispers in your ear, it's time. So stop wasting time on, those new life Mondays. Stop trying to force yourself to change. Instead, focus on just slowing down, quieting the noise, and loving yourself. Love yourself so deeply that you'll no longer accept self-sabotage, unhealthy habits, and negativity in your own life. I know it's easier said than done, trust me, but honestly, you have no choice, because it's only by doing this that the whisper has any chance of surfacing. And that whisper is your soul. I truly believe that. So please know yourself, love yourself, and heal yourself. Go back, go deep, unravel, open, and accept, and allow yourself to be the person you are meant to be. Somehow, doesn't matter what day we land on, it somehow correlates to something one of us have talked about. So I love that. There was something else I was just going to say. Oh, shoot. It was from the reading, and I said, no, don't stop, Lori. Don't stop. Comes from letting go, following, trusting. Okay, now I can't remember it. It left my head. That's it. Let me just wrap up the comments. I am going to feel so accomplished that I got through all the comments. Okay, so it does feel good. It does feel good to enter a clean room. Yeah, it sounds like we're on parallel walks here. Sound a lot like me, guys. So I'm glad I'm not the only crazy one. People don't know how big Florida is. It takes me 6 hours to get to the state line. Oh, no, I do know how big Florida is. You're right. My oldest daughter lives, she lives in Orlando, but it's like an hour from any of the parks. So when, people say, they always think she's so close to the park, but she's not anywhere near the parks. But she lives in Orlando, so. I'm sorry, Scott, what would be a great giveaway? I adore Nova Scotia. My dad was originally from there. I visited twice and can't wait to go again. I have never been to Canada. My daughter and husband, actually all my kids, I have never been. All my children have gone to Canada for one reason or another. My middle daughter has gone to hike the mountains up there or whatever it is. My other children have gone either for hockey tournaments, have gone for skiing. They love to go over the border to go skiing or snowboarding. I've never been. Palm Coast is pretty close to you and Granny. Palm Coast is pretty close to you and Granny. Cool. To you meaning Allie? Is that who you is? She said a signed book as a giveaway. That would be cool. Yes, Sally, if you missed it on Sundays live, I am Daniel and Allie inspired me. I'm going to give a Thoughtuary book away every Sunday. So maybe I will do some type of, I remember Rob having some type of little app that he was, it would kind of scan through everybody's comments and pick a winner, because I cannot be the one to pick a winner. Or maybe everybody that's in the comments, I put their name in a hat or something and pick it, but I'll figure that out. Yes, I have done that, letting go stuff, spacing your brain. That was remembering where that thing was and all the feelings attached to it. Yes. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. And I think maybe that's why, Scott, you said last night the decluttering series seems to be doing well. I think it's because we've all experienced it. Can we do coffee? Pam, are you going live after this? I know you did last week. Curious if you're going live after this. Mary Poppins, I feel like that when I'm pulling baits out of my fishing bag. Right? You have one of those magic bags too, right? Yeah. Let me see. Lori, that's me with the garage. I keep getting it all cleaned out, and then I turn around and there's crap piled up at the door again, not by me. Right? I don't know what happens. It's not my husband, so I don't know. I don't know how it happens, Sally. I gotta be more aware of what I'm doing. Or my kids. I think my kids come and like, Mom, can you hold this? Especially my daughter who lives in a van and travels the country. She does send some things home for me to hold on to for when she's done traveling the country. There's oil in my truck. See? You still have that, you got that feeling. Nothing like dropping the oil and screwing on a fresh new filter and pouring in the new golden goodness. Refreshing. You sound like my husband. Hey! Welcome! Welcome. I am so happy you joined. I'm so happy you joined. I'm glad you got my message. And yes, this is an amazing community. Amazing. The people on here are so encouraging. They're caring, they're kind. I know you're looking for a community, and I think I shared with you that I did a post 1 or 2 posts ago where I talk about everybody's lives. So join any of them. You will be welcomed into the folds. So I'm glad. I need a dumpster for 40 years, as my hub's affectionately calls treasures. Yeah, we had a few, I think we had 3 in total 30-yard dumpsters for my in-laws' estates, yes. Some stuff, my mother-in-law was also a preschool teacher, so I think you can relate to this, Sally. For 40 plus years, she was a preschool teacher, and as you can imagine, little kids do lots of projects. She could not get rid of anything, nothing. Like every time a kid would make her something, whether it was for Valentine's Day or a holiday, she kept everything. So, yeah. Yes, I always think it runs better, but now it's all in my head. Mike, you know, I don't know if you got my response this morning to one of your comments. Just be careful this weekend. I don't know if you're staying close to the job site or what you're doing, but just be safe this weekend, please. All comments seen and ending on time. I don't know who this is. I don't know who possessed me today, Scott. Probably won't happen again. What was Scott's great idea? Oh, right here. Let's take a group trip to Nova Scotia and crush one of Rob's live streams. I think we should. He's actually talked about having and hosting some folks. I think we should. Though I like your idea better, just showing up and surprising him one day. You know, those footsteps when he had all of us live, they'll actually be like a stampede. And we all just start knocking on his door at 2 p.m. his time. I'd be up for it. I have an app that's free with a spinner on it. Okay, so for giveaways? So let me know what that is, Sally. Send me a text or an email or something. Thank you, folks. Not sure if anybody's still on, but I appreciate. Yes, I will be on Daniel's Live next Wednesday night. I sold my school stuff for $15. At least you didn't hold on to it. I bet it was hard, hon. I really do. There's a lot of years, a whole season. And you're right. Okay. Thank you, guys. A few minutes passed. I appreciate, I know there's so many other things that everybody can be doing, so I don't take your time for granted. I love all of you guys, and I know I will see you throughout the weekend. I will see you in your videos, and I love you. I love all of you. Stay well, stay safe this weekend, and please let's keep Allie's dad in our prayers. Talk to you soon, guys.